just in terms of quarantine, there is positive to being in a city where I don't have my real extended group of friends or family or all that stuff, because I did
Yeah.
just put my head down and like really work hard, which is one thing we talked about a little bit, the idea that there has been parts where you're like, man, it would be nice to just have 3 months where everyone had to stop doing comedy and I could just focus on this thing and get
Yeah.
all my ducks in a line. So there was that positive aspect. But I mean, if I was to be quarantined in a city, like for example, you built your studio, you have your crew and stuff, I wasn't
Yeah.
quite there where I had, a list of people that I do film with, a list of people that I
Mm.
do this with, 10 sound guys on a thing. If I was going to build a studio, here's a good place to lease, here's some good people the comedians that also do film that might be good to share with or whatever. I just
Yeah. Yeah.
wasn't quite positioned. I would have liked another 6 months before I got locked in a cage.
Yeah, yeah, that's very true. Like for me, I moved house and then I got locked down. So it was kind of perfect because I'm like, okay, great. Now I won't get distracted with anything else. All I need to do is get furniture online and fucking build the studio. And so it was almost like a blessing in disguise for me in the sense that I suppose the positive of it now is like when comedy comes back, it's going to be fucking huge. People will be dying for it. I really do think. And I'm super stoked to like get out there and actually see fans. I'm sick of like reading comments and that being the only feedback. I haven't heard
Yeah.
laughter for like months. Like you can do a show here and there. We can't do shows at all. I haven't heard laughter for fucking since January. It sucks.
The truth is, the doing a show here and there almost isn't better from an efficiency standpoint. Like if you think of
Yeah.
comedy sort of like training for sports and these basketball players or runners, they go, "Hey, you want to just do one thing?" And you're like, "Well, I don't think you understand the training that it takes for me to get into shape to do this. So it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense for one. So to kind of go through all your stuff and, put it all together, it only makes sense if you're always doing it. Otherwise, it's fun to go do it
Yeah.
once or twice and see all your friends, and it's kind of a fun social thing. But in terms of actually building what you're trying to do, it doesn't really have a purpose other than like, oh, that's kind of fun. I can pretend I'm doing stand up again for a second.
I think now that you can't perform regularly, you really see the people who are in it because they need to do it because it's their passion and love, and you see the other people who do it because they like being on the stage and they like
Yeah.
feeling important. It's like those people
And
are
the
sitting at
social
home doing
aspect.
nothing, and the other people are like working hard and creating something elsewhere. Whereas other people are like, I just kind of like getting on stage and feeling important and then also manipulating others in a social setting.
Dude, there's people that I know that are, they learned how to day trade. They took a course on school. They read all these books.
Yeah.
They start, what I mean? My one friend's a
Yeah.
university professor and he's almost finished his book. And then you see other people 3 months in, they're like, well, now I finished Netflix and Amazon. So any
Yeah.
recommendations for YouTube channel, and you're like, Jesus, dude, you're never going to have an opportunity like this. But there was a part of me that I think now I feel like I've gotten all of my new things that I added to my life, whether that be from a
Yeah.
video side, from
Yes.
because you probably do that. You'll add like a new, let's say
Yeah.
your life. You're like, okay, I can handle this. Maybe I'll do another podcast, or I'll I just saw you
Yeah.
added your cooking series, right? You're like, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
add one other thing to the mix, and then it's messy for a bit, and then you kind of get that ironed out. So then your
Yeah.
life, you can fit that in. I feel like I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, I got all these new things sorted out that I wanted to add in quarantine, and it's like now I'd like to add stand up back in that mix.
I know. Yeah. I think, yeah, you're totally right. In terms of adding in new things and folding in new shit and routines and stuff, I'm like, I'm done. And there is a huge gap for stand up. And I know that I shouldn't add anything else in because the moment I add something else in and that runs smoothly, if I put stand up on top of it, something's going to fucking explode. So now I'm just sitting
Yeah.
here with like all this extra free time and I'm like, I guess I'll read. It's weird.
Yeah, because then you're like, well, I guess I'll do another thing. But there is a part of you that's like, well, don't fill up all your time because you do have to have a thing that's going to be sustainable for when, when life does go back to normal.
Mm.
So I've been kind of adding videos and doing, trying to do things that are going to, I've been more focused on trying to add things that are going to make my other processes work better. Like building a
Yeah.
studio would be perfect. I figured out all my Discord and stuff. I just got a new computer that I'm, a lot of things that are going to streamline my process but are taking time, so that maybe it's a good time for those kind of operations.
Oh yeah, I mean that's all the shit that you neglect because when you're especially if you're like on tour flying around, everything is just survival. It's like as long as I get to this city on time and do the show and I get a video out there,
I
that's the
know.
only thing that matters. So like figuring out how to do it faster or better is almost a waste of time because that would get in the way of getting to the thing that must be done or you'll get fucked. So now's the perfect
Yeah.
time to streamline everything and add new processes and all that kind of shit.